Good evening, it's Tuesday the 6th of May and it's the 6th race of the Champagne Series. It's the 10k up Jenny Brough Lane, and I have, this is a different race, this is a handicap race, and I want to ask two participants here what they think about it. On my left here I have Mike Bingham, who has he's actually got something like 13.5 minutes to spare before the last man goes up. What do you think of that, Mike?
Well, knowing who one of the last men is, yeah, I think it's all right. But having said that, I think the way that the handicap system is run is a fair situation. And for someone like me, who's one of the slower runners and one of the plodders, it does give me something to aim at to improve my times. And yeah, I think it's a good thing.
Are you going to win, Mike?
I'll not necessarily say I'm going to win, but I'm going to do better than I did last year.
Okay, thanks very much. Now we'll turn to Phil here. Now Phil is at the other end of the scale. He's one of the lonely breed, left to come through from the back. What do you think about that, Phil?
Well, I don't think it gives me much chance of winning the race, but I like the idea of having to chase all the others because it gives you really something to go for. So I'm hoping for a fast time, but I don't think I've got any chance of winning it.
But what if you can't see anybody in front of you?
Well, it's a strong possibility, but I'll just plug on. I mean, there's always somebody out there, I think.
Well, good luck to both of you, and we'll come back and ask you after the race what you feel about it then.
Okay. Thanks very much.
Thanks, Pete.
Thanks. And the two front runners in this Champagne League 10k handicap are Mike Bingham and Pete Shields. Mike Bingham there, who we interviewed before the start, carrying a green vest of Hull Spring Head Harriers, and Pete Shields wearing the purple of City of Hull. And they're going off at a fair old whack. I'm sure they're favourites to win this. Well, number 71 coming through now. I think he's from Escafeld Harriers at Bradford. Although no doubt I'll be proved wrong. And now next two runners coming through, it looks like Judy Benson and another Springhead Harrier. So Springhead are well represented in these races. It'll be interesting to see how these figure out in the end. Yeah, okay. Oh, if I see that, that'd be good, yeah. I'll just talk off that then. Keep it up, lads. You'll get there. And now coming through is Eric Wilson from City of Hull. Over 50 now, Eric. He's run many good races over the years. And we're about 500 yards up from the start, so you're getting an idea of the kind of time differences here by watching the clock at the bottom. And Ted Wilkinson's in the middle of that group there, and another man from Escafeld. And the next group here we've got Terry Davis. I'm surprised to see him getting a handicap like this. I think he could well do quite well tonight. Now on the inside of this next group of three runners is Frank Lukop, of course, and you can see the paces of the runners are gradually increasing as this time lag is taken up. You see now we're about 4 minutes or so into the race, taking the account of where the race started from. And any one of these runners here could win tonight, such as the unpredictability of the handicap system. The idea is that everybody finishes on the line together. And Phil Slater's, well, is he looking slimmer? He might be. These runners, of course, we don't often see them head in the field as they are tonight. And it's Dr. Walker here and Steve Longthorne. I'm heading through. Actually, across that road, which you can just see the intersection, is causing one or two problems for the runners. Cars are not taking any notice of them, of course. They probably could have done with a marshal there. So East Hull's first representative comes through, number 106, Dennis Baker, and number 5, oh, of course, that's the Distance News editor, Dave Sewell. He won't thank me for not remembering him. It's these nondescript t-shirts. Are you on? Just widen it a bit. Just get that junction. You'll probably get a better view of that junction now. Sibelius Road. Make a note of it, I should. So there's one or two runners running very determinedly at this part of the field, and they must fancy their chances for picking up the bottle of bubbly tonight. Brian Gibson now is News Club Secretary. He's leading the old club secretary there, and Ian Adams and Alan Foley, of course, that was number 96. Pete Chapman now, and of course, good evening. And Malcolm Burton here from East Hull Harriers is had a quiet season by his standards so far, leading another 3 or 4 runners, too quick to name. And it's getting rather downcast now. It's beginning to rain steadily, and it's a fairly typical summer evening, what we've grown to expect over the last year or two. Bernie Charles now, he's been running well in the short races, so he could well be well up at the end of this handicap as the story unfolds of this running event. And a casual observer would not believe that there's any possibility of these runners all finishing in the same time. You can see now that we've been running for 10 minutes now since the first runners set off. You can see how dangerous that corner is. I think there should have been a marshal there. Rob Robinson in the next picture. And the next picture we have Shane Page battling away. Even though he's not the head of a field, he's going to be the head of this little group. Head and Mark Peacock, and of course the redoubtable man from Springhead there, Phil Dewberry. And just jogging back to the start, you might just see him, I'm not sure, it's Jim Dingwall. He's waiting his turn patiently. And number 11 there is Mark Smith. He's fairly well back. He's got his work cut out here. And the next runner coming through is Ian Greer of East Hull Harriers. Been having quite a good season. So Phil Leach here and Steve Dobbs, Andy Ulrich, Martin Farrell, who had that good run at Tadcaster at the weekend. And bashing through here is George Baker. He really is going. I'm sure he's going to be one of the fastest times tonight. And the last two runners come through, the back markers, it's Jim Dingwall, of course, and number 101, the man from the army. He could be the gentleman who won the 3 mile at East Hull last week. And so the next space you'll see this video is going up the redoubtable hill at Tranby Lane. I'm moving on a bit because you've got a Mini coming here. All right. And Mike Bingham here is in picture. He's at the top of Jenny Brough Lane. He's been running for 25 minutes and he's lying in second place. But he's got a whole horde of runners behind him, and in third place, just out of shot, is Eric Wilson, who's running very well. And right at the back of the field, George Baker is thumping through, together with Chris Vile and Jim Dingwall, both running it out very hard at the back. So this could be a very interesting race by the end.
Leader.
So in the lead then we have Pete Shields of City of Hull. He's got a fair old lead. He's got right away from Mike Bingham, so he's under no threat from Mike, and his big threat lies further back in the pack. But he's got a handy lead. He's been running 26 minutes, and I would estimate from here he can finish in about 40. I don't think he can be beaten, actually. You can just see, in perhaps just a little bit further back off shot there, you can see where Mike is in relation to Pete. So we could be looking at the winner tonight. He's running very steadily. I can't see how the lads behind can make any impression on this. The only one with a likely chance, I would say, is Eric Wilson. I'd just like to correct the name check I just gave. It's actually Paul Shields, of course. His brother's not running tonight. And here we are at Darley's Roundabout, and this is what makes the Champagne League different. Here we turn onto a footbridge, and you'll see the kind of negotiation that is required. Shows the depth of skill that road runners have to have today. Navigational skills, coordination, everything's there. And it's still Paul Shields. He's got a handy lead. I think he's got about 6-7 minutes. He must get home by now, else he'll be under big threat from the big kicking finishers like Jimmy Dingwall and Chris Viles, or Colin Viles we believe it is, from the Army, and George Baker. And in second place, Mike Bingham. So Mike, we interviewed him before the start. He's still in second place, but Eric, as you can see, Eric Wilson's threatening him, plus the Escaveld vet man. And there's a stack of runners now. This is the beauty of this kind of event. Now look how they're all piling in. They all think they've got a chance now. They're all coming with a rush. And you can see this is where it gets difficult negotiating this. Steve Longthorne just going through there. And we'll have to just get the next few across the bridge, and then there's one man gone wrong there. Will they catch him? And you can see that the handicaping's working out pretty well. There's a whole bunch of runners all caught each other up at the same time there. And so we must make to the finish just to see if Paul Shields can hold out and win this race. So you just see Paul Shields there. He's got a very handy lead and he's only got a mile left. Will he hang on? So this is a big shock. It's Jeannie Percival romping through. She's run a great time here. Overall time only 44 minutes, less a handicap time. Now look at this mass finish now for second place. This is better than Mike McLeod's kick in the Olympic Games. As you see with a mass of runners coming through there. And this has been a great handicap tonight. You can see how close everybody is. And Denny's just holds off George there. He's run a great run. I would estimate George has run 31 minutes, maybe slightly under. And when you consider he's had to go over that bridge, it's been quite remarkable. Now there's a bit of a job. This is coming in so thick and fast, keeping the order right for recording. Everybody's too tired to bother about it, but it's up to the organisers to try and keep them straight somehow. So you can see the mass finish here, and I think George is probably favourite at the moment with his time of 31 minutes for the fastest time. We're still looking out. In fact, I would say he's definitely got the fastest time tonight. As Adrian Hill just finishes, number 101 from the Army. He's run himself about 32 minutes, and Jim's just behind in 32:30. So the 1, 2, 3 and the fastest times look like George Bager, Adrian Hill and Jim Dingwall. But the remarkable winner tonight was Jeannie Percival. Now Mike Bingham is just finishing, number 31. He has now had a total running time of 45:54. So he's done pretty well over a tough course. I think he'll be pleased with that. Ian Greer just coming through, and Martin Farrell. Well, Martin, after a great run at the weekend, he'll be slightly disappointed with tonight's run. So the one thing about this, everybody comes together. It saves the officials waiting around. Well, that's the idea. There's still 1 or 2 more to come in. There's Phil Dewberry finishing like a train. That's a tremendous sprint there. And the second man we interviewed, Phil Leach, just finishes now at 1:02, 47:10. Less his handicap of 13:30. So he's run about 33:30. So not bad at all. And as soon as he's caught his breath, we'll ask the 2 lads what they've thought of tonight's little effort. So okay, Phil, 33:30 or thereabouts. What position-wise, I should think you.
I only passed about 3 or 4, I think. So, like you said, it was a bit lonely, but
yeah,
I only had half a minute on Jim Dingwall and a quarter on George Baker, so they passed me early on.
I think that was a little unfair, to be honest.
Yeah, but it's my first race since London. I was feeling stiff, but being so low, and I had to really push myself very hard. So, in fact, it turned out to be beneficial. I mean, I had no chance of winning, but it was a good, hard, solid run.
What is the time? How does it equate to what you would think to do over 6 miles or thereabouts?
No, the best 10k I was only a 32:59. I think that was 3 years ago in Battersea Park. So
today's not too bad.
No, it's quite
it's unofficial, but I mean,
yeah,
roughly we think it's.
I expect like that. So very pleased with it.
Can we turn to you, Mike, and just say that you had a good start. Both of you four were a long way away. How did it go for you? I got you at 45:50 in the end. 45.54. Is that about right?
Yeah, 45.53.
Yeah.
I struggled a bit to start, and I was with Paul right up until Red Lion. He seemed to pull away from me then. Struggled up Tranby Lane a bit, but I thought I was catching him up down Jenny Brough Lane. But as we got onto the second leg of Jenny Brough Lane, I just seemed to lose it a bit. But having said that, it's just over 7-minute miling, so I was quite pleased.
Yeah,
better than last year.
Can you tell us about Jeannie Percival, who seemed to come through very fast?
Yes, just as we went over the flyover at the footbridge at Darley's, there was about half a dozen chaps past me over and going down, and then we set off down Booth Ferry Road towards the Green Arrow garage, and then Jeannie Percival came past me going very, very well. And in actual fact, I was quite surprised that she beat Paul, because I thought, as you said, he had a fair lead, but she seemed to be running very strong and seemed to have a good run, because she said to me at the start she was suffering from a cold, so and didn't know whether she should be running or not, but she'd be pleased, I would think.
Right, mate, what's your next event?
Next event, nothing planned other than the next Champagne League in a couple of weeks.
Right, we look forward to seeing you there. And what about you then, Carl?
Well, next big race is the East Hall 20, which I'm hoping to do, get under 2 hours for that, but there's the Marina on Sunday, Marina 5,
Yes.
it's our club race, which I'm hoping to do well in that.
Yes, it's a bit more than a fun run that now, isn't it?
Well, we get attracted to the good runners, you know, from the solid whole, continued whole, so it's, at the sharp end, it's quite good, you know, it's very competitive.
I understand Pete Flatman's running on Sunday.
Well,
I don't know about that.
Star quality. All right, thank you anyway.
Thank you very much,
Thanks,
gentlemen.
Pete. Are you running Sunday?
Yeah. And so tonight's run then, the 6th running of the Champagne League, the 10k Jenny Brough, and it's been a handicap, an interesting handicap. Looked like Paul Shields was going to win, but in the end Jeannie Percival came through very, very strongly, and we're still awaiting her official time, but it looked very good indeed. Fastest time of the day, I'm certain, is George Baker. Time-wise, I can't tell you, but second time is Adrian Hill of the Army, who we hope is going to join City of Hull AC. Be a very good acquisition for us. And third was Jim Dingwall, who said the footbridge bounced back at him and he couldn't get used to it. So with that, we look forward to seeing you in the next Champagne League event.
Commentating kit, are you?
Yeah, maybe wants to be a bit higher, I don't know. Your car coming through, so if you pull over to the edge so they can get past.
Practice for setting up.
Yeah. Says he's going to drop his hand when he starts, but he never normally does.
You just give me the knocks a go, no go.
I'll tell you when to go.
Any sense of starting now, wouldn't it?
Yeah. God, Brooke's just pulled out in front of him. They're off. Don't set off yet. Just, you can ease off when you like. Okay, he's off. That's it. All right. Right out. Okay. Keep it that speed. Yeah. Shall do after the race. No, I'll keep going, yeah, as well. Who's in front? Martin's made the break.
Well run, Martin.
Mind the cars.
Well done. Yeah, well done. All the way, Bobby. I thought I'd get the end, but I didn't.
2016.
What's the number, Jamie?
No.
Just trying to get all the finishes in case I've got any problems, Pete. All right, Rob.